The discovery of the emergency beacon echoed through the corridors of the Galactic Council station, its piercing wail cutting through the usual diplomatic murmur. Commander Zara Vex of the Altarian Intelligence Division rushed toward the central command chamber, her silver skin shimmering with concern. In her 40 years of service, she had never heard the emergency protocols activated with such urgency. The massive circular chamber buzzed with activity as representatives from dozens of species gathered around holographic displays. Admiral Korth, the towering Drachnary military strategist, stood at the center with his forearms gesturing toward data streams that made no sense. His reptilian features were twisted in confusion, something Zara had never seen before. "Commander Vex," Admiral Korth's voice rumbled through the chamber. "Thank the stars you're here. We have a situation that defies explanation." Zara approached the central display, her enhanced optical implants automatically adjusting to process the incoming data. What she saw made her blood run cold. The holographic display showed the outer rim of human-controlled space, specifically the Kepler 438 system. But something was wrong. Terribly wrong. "These readings can't be accurate," Zara whispered, her voice barely audible over the growing chaos in the chamber. "The scale is impossible." The display showed massive structures floating in space around the dying star. Each structure was roughly spherical, but their size defied comprehension. According to the scanner data, each one was approximately 3,400 kilometers in diameter, moon-sized, but they weren't natural satellites. They were artificial constructions, gleaming with metallic surfaces and pulsing with energy signatures that pushed their measurement systems to their limits. "That's what we thought too," Admiral Korth replied, his tail lashing nervously behind him. "But we've confirmed these readings through 7 different intelligence networks. The humans have built something that should be impossible." Dr. Lyrian Vex, the Council's chief physicist, materialized beside them in a shimmering teleportation field. The crystalline being's form flickered with distress patterns. "I've run the calculations 17 times. The energy requirements alone should have bankrupted the entire human economy. The materials needed would strip mine hundreds of worlds. The engineering challenges are beyond anything we've achieved, even with our most advanced technologies." Mind raced as she processed the implications. Humans had been members of the Galactic Council for only 50 years, considered a young and relatively primitive species. Their technology was respectable but not revolutionary. They had never shown capabilities that would suggest they could undertake such a massive project. "How long have they been working on this?" Zara asked. "That's the terrifying part," Admiral Korth growled. "Our deep space monitoring stations have been tracking unusual activity in human space for the past 5 years. We assumed it was normal. Industrial expansion, mining operations, perhaps new colonies. We were wrong." The display shifted to show a timeline of construction activity. The evidence was undeniable. Massive resource shipments, energy spikes, and industrial activity on a scale that dwarfed anything the humans had previously undertaken. But they had hidden it well. Too well. They'd been planning this for decades. Came a new voice from the chamber's entrance. Dr. Elena Vasquez entered, her human features marked by exhaustion and fear. As a scientific liaison between Earth and the Council, she had access to information that others did not. "I've been investigating this for months. The humans call it Project Aegis." The chamber fell silent as the only human present walked to the center of the display. Her presence was both crucial and suspicious. Why would a human reveal such sensitive information about her own species? Dr. Vasquez, Admiral Korth's voice carried a warning tone. You're about to violate your oath to your homeworld. Are you prepared for the consequences? Elena's hands trembled as she activated her personal data pad. The consequences of silence are worse than the consequences of truth. What you're seeing is just the beginning. The display changed again, showing not one system, but 12 different star systems across human space. Each system contained similar structures, 12 moon-sized constructions, each one pulsing with the same impossible energy signatures. 12, Zara breathed. They've built 12 of these things. And they're not just platforms, Elena continued, her voice growing stronger. They're ships, mobile weapons platforms designed for deep space warfare. Each one contains enough firepower to destroy entire fleets. The chamber erupted in chaos. Representatives from warrior species like the Drakneri began shouting about preemptive strikes. The peaceful Altarians called for diplomatic solutions. The machine-like synthetics ran probability calculations aloud, their electronic voices creating a cacophony of data. Order. Admiral Korth's voice boomed through the chamber, silencing the debate. Dr. Vasquez, explain how you know this. Elena took a deep breath. Because I helped design the power systems. 5 years ago, I was recruited for what I thought was a deep space exploration project. The energy requirements were massive, but they said it was for generation ships to explore distant galaxies. I didn't learn the truth until 3 months ago. She activated another display showing detailed schematics of the mega warship's internal structure. The engineering was breathtaking and terrifying. Each ship was essentially a hollowed-out moon, with the core replaced by fusion reactors powerful enough to move the entire structure through space. The surface was covered with weapon systems, defensive shields, and docking bays capable of housing thousands of smaller ships. The humans have created mobile fortresses, Elena explained. Each one can travel between star systems, bringing overwhelming firepower to any conflict. They've revolutionized space warfare. Commander Zara studied the schematics with growing alarm. The weapon systems alone were beyond anything the Council had ever deployed. Particle cannons the size of skyscrapers, missile batteries that could launch planet-killing warheads, defensive shields powered by the entire energy output of small stars. What's their purpose? Zara asked. Why build such weapons? That's what I've been trying to discover, Elena replied. Human leadership has been completely silent. They won't answer diplomatic communications. They won't explain their intentions. They just keep building. Admiral Korth's tactical implants were working overtime, analyzing the threat potential. If humans intended conquest, these ships could subjugate the entire galaxy. No combined fleet could stand against even one of them. But why now? Dr. Vex interjected. Humans have been peaceful members of the Council. They've never shown aggressive tendencies. This massive militarization doesn't match their behavioral patterns. Elena looked around the chamber, her expression growing darker. That's what worries me most. Humans don't build weapons like this for conquest. They build them for survival. Something has them terrified, and they're not telling us what it is. The implication sent a chill through the chamber. If humans, with their reputation for optimism and resilience, were building weapons of such magnitude, what threat were they preparing to face? Asterisk, we need intelligence, Zara declared. I'm recommending immediate covert reconnaissance. We need to know what these ships are capable of and what the humans are planning. Admiral Korth nodded grimly. Agreed. But we also need to prepare for the possibility that these weapons are targeted at us. If humans have decided the Council is a threat, we need defensive measures. As the debate continued, a new alert flashed across the displays. Long-range sensors had detected movement in the Kepler 438 system. One of the mega-warships was powering up its engines. The massive structure was beginning to move, its destination unknown. It's heading toward the neutral zone, reported the sensor operator. Estimated arrival in 72 hours. The neutral zone was a disputed area of space claimed by 3 different species. If the humans were moving a planet-sized warship into that region, it could only mean one thing. They were preparing to make a statement. Commander Zara felt the weight of the moment. Whatever the humans were planning, it would change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. The age of small fleets and tactical warfare was ending. The age of mobile planets and unimaginable firepower was beginning. Prepare the fleet, Admiral, Korth ordered. We're going to intercept that ship and demand answers. As the chamber emptied, species representatives rushing to alert their homeworlds. Alina remained behind with Zara. The human woman looked exhausted, as if the weight of her betrayal was finally hitting her. Did I do the right thing? Elena asked quietly. Zara placed a gentle hand on the human's shoulder. You may have saved the galaxy, or you may have doomed it. Time will tell. Outside the station's windows, the stars seemed dimmer somehow, as if the revelation of humanity's secret weapons had changed the very nature of space itself. Somewhere out there, 12 moon-sized warships waited in the darkness, their purpose known only to their creators. The galaxy would never be the same. Asterisk. The confrontation, the combined fleet of the Galactic Council, emerged from hyperspace in perfect formation. Their ships arranged in a defensive pattern that had never failed in 300 years of conflicts. Admiral Korth stood on the bridge of the flagship, his forearms operating multiple control interfaces simultaneously. Commander Zara monitored the tactical displays, her enhanced senses processing data streams from hundreds of sensors. Nothing could have prepared them for what they encountered. The human megawarship hung in space like a second moon, its surface alive with lights and energy patterns. City-sized structures covered its hull, connected by transportation networks that pulsed with activity. Massive weapon arrays tracked the approaching fleet, their targeting systems clearly active but not yet firing. Scale reference confirms our worst fears, reported the sensor operator. The ship is 3,400 kilometers in diameter, mass equivalent to lunar. Power output reading is off our scales. Admiral Korth's tactical implants struggled to process the threat assessment. Every instinct told him to open fire immediately, before the human ship could demonstrate its capabilities. But the logical part of his mind understood that their entire combined fleet was insignificant compared to the floating fortress before them. Incoming transmission, announced the communications officer. It's from the human ship. The main display activated, showing the interior of what appeared to be a command center. The human who appeared on screen was tall and lean, with gray-streaked hair and eyes that held the weight of difficult decisions. His uniform was simple, but bore the insignia of Earth's Space Defense Force. I am Captain Marcus Chen, commanding officer of the UES Prometheus, the human said, his voice calm despite the tension. Admiral Korth, Commander Vex, I know why you're here. We need to talk. Admiral Korth's tail lashed with barely contained aggression. Captain Chen, your species, has constructed weapons of mass destruction without Council approval. You will explain your intentions immediately. Captain Chen's expression didn't change. Permission to come aboard your flagship, Admiral. What I have to tell you cannot be transmitted over open channels. The request was unprecedented. Never before had a human made such a demand when facing the full might of the Council fleet. But something in Chun's demeanor suggested this was not a surrender. It was an invitation to understand. Granted, Admiral Korth replied after a moment's hesitation. Transport Bay 3. You have 1 hour. The transport shuttle that emerged from the Prometheus was unlike anything in the Council's databases. Its hull was composed of materials that seemed to absorb sensor scans, making it nearly invisible to their detection systems. When it landed in the flagship's bay, the being who emerged was not what they expected. Captain Chen walked with the confidence of someone who held ultimate authority, but his eyes carried a sadness that spoke of terrible knowledge. He was accompanied by 2 other humans, a woman in engineering uniforms, and a man whose bearing suggested military special operations. Admiral Commander Chen nodded respectfully as he entered the conference room. Thank you for this meeting. I wish the circumstances were different. The circumstances are that your species has built planet-killing weapons without authorization. Admiral Korth growled, "Explain yourself." Chen activated a holographic projector, filling the room with star charts that showed the entire galaxy. What do you know about the Devourers? The question sent a chill through the room. Commander Zara's optical implants flickered as she accessed historical databases. Ancient legend, a machine race that supposedly consumed entire star systems before disappearing into deep space. No credible evidence of their existence. Not legend, Chen replied grimly. Reality, and they're coming back. The star chart shifted to show the galactic rim, highlighting a region of space that appeared empty in current surveys. 73 years ago, our deep space monitoring stations detected anomalous energy signatures from this region. We initially dismissed them as cosmic background radiation. The display changed, showing wave patterns that grew stronger over time. It took us 30 years to decode the signals. They weren't random. They were communication patterns. The Devourers were talking to each other, coordinating their return. Dr. Elena Bosques, who had been silent since arriving, finally spoke. The energy signatures matched theoretical models for self-replicating machine intelligences, the kind that could strip mine entire solar systems for resources. Impossible, Admiral Korth declared. Our scientists would have detected such a threat. Your scientists weren't looking for it, Chen replied. Your species have been fighting each other for so long that you've forgotten about external threats. We haven't. The holographic display showed a timeline of human activities over the past 50 years. Deep space exploration, resource extraction, technological development, all focused on a single goal: preparation for war against an enemy that defied conventional understanding. The Devourers operate on a cycle, Chen explained. They consume everything in their path, then retreat to deep space to process the materials and replicate. Our calculations suggest they return to this galaxy every 10,000 years. And you believe they're returning now? Commander Zara asked. We know they are, Chen replied. 3 months ago, our outermost monitoring stations detected the first scout probes, machine intelligences the size of asteroids, moving toward inhabited space. They're testing our defenses. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. If Chen was telling the truth, the entire galaxy faced extinction from an enemy that could literally consume worlds. Why didn't you warn the Council? Admiral Korth demanded. Chen's expression darkened. We tried. 40 years ago, we presented our findings to the scientific committee, They dismissed our evidence as human paranoia. We were told to focus on more realistic threats. So you decided to build weapons in secret. We decided to build survival tools, Chen corrected. The Prometheus and her sister ships aren't conquest weapons. They're fortress worlds, designed to protect civilian populations when the devourers arrive. The display shifted again, showing the internal structure of the mega warships. What the Council had interpreted as weapons arrays were actually defensive systems. What they had seen as invasion equipment was actually evacuation infrastructure. Each ship can house 50 million people, Chen explained. They're completely self-sufficient, with ecosystems, manufacturing, and defensive capabilities. When the Devourers come, these ships will be the last refuges for galactic civilization. And the weapons systems? Zara asked. The Devourers are machines. They understand only force. Our defensive systems are designed to make each ship too costly to attack. If they want to consume a fortress world, they'll pay a price in resources that makes the effort unprofitable. Admiral Korth studied the tactical displays with new understanding. The human weapons weren't designed for conquest. They were designed for survival against an enemy that could literally eat planets. How long do we have? He asked. Our best estimates suggest the main force will arrive in 18 months, Chen replied. The scout probes are already here. As if summoned by his words, alarms began sounding throughout the flagship. The tactical displays showed new contacts emerging from hyperspace at the edge of the system. The contacts were unlike anything in the Council's databases, geometric shapes that seemed to shift and change as they moved. Devourer scouts, Chen said grimly. Right on schedule. The lead scout was roughly the size of a battleship, but its surface was covered with mechanical appendages that moved with predatory intent. It didn't emit any communication signals. It simply began moving toward the nearest inhabited world. All ships, battle stations, Admiral Korth ordered, prepare to intercept. Admiral, with respect, your fleet can't stop them, Chen said calmly. But we can. The Prometheus began moving, its massive bulk accelerating with surprising speed. Weapon systems that had seemed impossibly large now revealed their true purpose. Particle cannons the size of cities opened fire, their beams capable of cutting through matter at the molecular level. The Devourer Scout's defensive systems were advanced beyond anything the Council had encountered. Its hull absorbed energy, attacks, and regenerated damage almost instantly. But the human weapons were different. They didn't just attack the machine's structure, they attacked its fundamental programming. Information warfare, Chen explained as they watched the battle. The Devourers are machines. They can be hacked, confused, made to turn on each other. Our weapon systems include viral algorithms designed to corrupt their command structures. The scout began moving erratically, its mechanical limbs attacking its own hull. Within minutes, it had literally torn itself apart, leaving only debris floating in space. Impressive, Admiral Korth admitted. But you said there would be more. Thousands more, Chen confirmed. And behind them, the main force, ships the size of small moons, factory complexes that can build new devourers from raw materials, worldity that can strip a planet bare in weeks. The gravity of the situation was finally clear. Humanity hadn't built weapons of conquest. They had built the galaxy's only hope for survival. What do you need from us? Commander Zara asked. Cooperation, Chen replied. The fortress worlds can protect millions, but not billions. We need every species working together, sharing resources and knowledge. The Devourers have never faced a united galaxy before, and if we refuse? Admiral Korth asked. Chen's expression was grim. Then, in 18 months, there won't be a galaxy left to argue about. The tactical display showed the other human megawarships moving into position throughout the galaxy. 12 fortress worlds, each one humanity's gift to the future. The species that had been dismissed as primitive had become the galaxy's guardians. The Council will need to vote, Admiral Korth said finally. Then vote quickly, Chen replied. The Devourers don't respect democracy. They only understand extinction. As the meeting concluded, Commander Zara looked out at the stars with new understanding. Humanity had spent 50 years preparing for a war that others refused to believe was coming. They had sacrificed comfort, resources, and secrecy to build weapons that could save everyone. The galaxy was about to learn what humans meant when they said they never gave up. The age of the Devourers was beginning, but so was the age of human determination, and in the darkness of space, 12 fortress worlds waited to prove that some things were worth defending against impossible odds.